Hi, my name's John Petty, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Growing Up in Flip Flops. This episode I've entitled Just a Name. One day when I was in high school, I was in the school cafeteria, and as I was leaving, I noticed that there was an acquaintance of mine. I really wasn't a friend of his, but was a guy sitting alone at a cafeteria table. He had a look on him like he was the saddest person in the world. So I decided I didn't really have anything to go to that minute, so I turned around and went back and sat down at the table, and I said, "Bob, are you okay?" And he just looked up at me, and he said, "Oh, I've got a lot of things I'm worried about." And I said, You really look upset and sad. What's the problem? Tell me about it." And he said, "Well, I've got all these scholarship offers and I can't make up my mind to on which one to take." And I looked at him and "You're kidding. You're sad about that?" I said, "I wish I had that problem, that I had all these scholarship offers and not knowing which one to take." And he looked at me again with very sad eyes and said, "You don't understand." And I said, "Where are they for?" And he said, "Well, I've got all these football scholarships all across the country: Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Nebraska, USC, UCLA." And I just looked at him and went, "What?" I said, "You're not on the football team. You're on the basketball team." And he looked and he said, "That's the problem." And I said, "What? What? I don't understand." He said, "I don't have a single basketball scholarship, but I've got all these football scholarships." And I said, "I don't understand. I, why all these big time football schools are giving you scholarships?" And he said, "Well, it's because of my grandfather." "What?" He said, "They want me on the team because of my grandfather." And I said, "Well, who's your grandfather?" And he named a name that a two-time Super Bowl winning coach, Pro Football Hall of Fame coach. And I said, "He's your grandfather?" Bob nodded his head and said, "Yeah." And he said, "They want me on the team. They just want a name. I'm just a name." I was incredulous. I was absolutely incredulous that this was happening, and I now understood his sadness. I can understand his disappointment playing basketball and not getting any offers, and then getting all these prestigious offers simply because of his name. I think at the time he did realize that he would simply be sitting on the bench, and that the coaches and or school would use him as a recruiting tool, just putting his name out there and having him do public appearances or whatever, that we've got this Pro Football Hall of Fame coach's grandson on the team. But he would probably never play a single minute in a game. It had to be incredibly disappointing. In retrospect, just thinking about this, there are a couple things that pop out to me. One, they were going to be offering a scholarship to Bob that was going to take the place of a kid that really did deserve a scholarship. He was going to be out there just riding the bench, doing probably PR work, as I said, But there was a kid that was not going to get a scholarship because of the spot that he took. That's something to think about. Number two, and this is probably the most disappointing to me, is if he had accepted one of those scholarships, and I later found out that he did not accept any of them for a variety of reasons, the other players on the team would have not had any respect for him. They would have known that he was just there as a show pony. The coach offering him a scholarship to one of these places was literally setting him up for failure. Was setting him up for resentment by the other team players. Offering Bob a football scholarship was an all-around bad idea, a selfish idea by the coaches. Not all these coaches are the best people, and not everybody in every position of authority or leadership makes the best decision. How many teams passed on Michael Jordan in the NBA draft before the Chicago Bulls got him? How many teams passed on Aaron Rodgers before the Packers got him? The Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons, traded Brett Favre. People make stupid, ill-informed decisions and don't see what's in front of them. Heck, the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers in this past year's Super Bowl was Mr. Irrelevant, the last player chosen in the NFL draft. People make stupid decisions all the time, and they miss what is right in front of them, looking at talent or whatever. I'm thinking about the possibility of that kid, if Bob had accepted one of the football scholarships, about the kid that would not have been offered because Bob had taken his place. Things happen in life that we have no idea of why it happened. And sometimes it's through stupidity of others, sometimes it's an accident. But beyond that, you have the Michael Jordans, the Aaron Rodgers, the Brett Favres, the Brock Purdys that persevere and excel despite the stupidity of others. Cream does rise to the top. If you're in one of these situations and you've faced disappointment, you know what? Everybody has. Everybody has a battle that they're fighting. Keep plugging. It's worth it. You will succeed. There are people that are looking for somebody just like you, with your set of skills, with your energy, with your insights, and your abilities. Keep plugging. There are smart people out there. Not everybody's an idiot. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as a little bit of a postscript, I want to come clean about something. The general facts of the story that I opened this episode with are all true. I did change some items to obscure the identity of the very real person that I spoke to that day in the cafeteria. The incident did happen, but I just wanted to keep his identity private.